We got a minute here. Great, guys. Hey, everyone that is here, thank you so much for attending. My brain is absolutely fried, so I have notes on my phone. I also tend to walk around, and since there's a camera on me, I'm going to move really fast so that you can't keep up. But if you have any questions, I love questions at all times, so please just go ahead and come to the microphone at any point during the thing, not just at the end, and ask a question, because I like that, so cool. We're going to be getting started here pretty quick, and it'll be fun. For me, yeah, I don't know. Hi, what's up, Aaron? You have a question right away? Is the mic working? Is that your question? Yeah. What's your question? Quick, man. Oh, we're going. Okay, what's your question?
It's more of a comment.
Uh-oh.
You look really good. I like your tie.
Thank you. That's not a question, but all right, cool. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Dakota Krout. We are here for, the name of it changed. Originally, it was more output, less input, and now it's actually something else on the schedule. So you're in the right place, even if it's the wrong name. Reducing workload, boosting output. Cool. So I took my own spin on that, as I tend to do. So tiny slide about me. My name is Dakota Krout. I have been an Amazon and Audible top 5 overall, listener's choice, September 2017. I'm a multi-7-figure earning author. I've been featured in Forbes, the New York Times, the Associated Press, Time Magazine Person of the Year 2006. So I was the cover of that magazine, so that was really cool. And then I was also the author or cover story for the Indie Author magazine, and I own a publishing company. I have dozens of authors published and hundreds of books from them and from myself. So I'm pretty excited to be here and talk to you about this. So here's kind of what this is going to look like today. So we're going to have my thoughts on stuff. We're going to go to time value prioritization funnels, onto automations, standard operating procedures, which are my personal favorite, task batching, continuing education, delegation, which is my, if not top favorite, it's like right next to it, next to SOPs. And so with that, let's get on to my thoughts. So my thoughts on having less work and more output. I like that a lot. I don't know about you guys, but who doesn't want to have a better outcome with less effort, right? And so, you don't raise your hand at that. So first off, how cool is it that we get to do this, right? We have the best career in the world. We get to make stuff up and sell it to other people that like to read what the thoughts in our head were. I think that's really neat. It's really cool. It's a really neat career. I really like doing it. I hope you do too. Man, it's also really difficult, and there are no safety nets. Like the wrong thing said to the wrong person at the wrong time, your career collapses, right? Or just one day you wake up and you find that you cannot write anymore, and the thought of putting another word on screen makes you sick. Just this pit of emptiness yet acid at the same time in your stomach. It's a whole thing. So it sure would suck to lose everything. Right? Like, ooh, that's my thoughts on this matter. I hope you don't have those same thoughts. So I've had these thoughts since I started this career. And I had a career before this, I had a career before that, and I bet you have too. And I bet you've had really similar thoughts throughout your time doing all of this fun stuff. So where do we find that work-life balance? And a lot of people will tell me, Dakota, that's a myth. Right? There's no such thing as a work-life balance. And to that, I like to say one of my favorite quotes from some of my favorite people, and that is relationships, even relationships with work, are not a problem to be solved. They are a tension to be managed, right? And so if you're managing your tensions correctly, your life is easier, if not perfect, right? Even if it's not perfect, it's a lot easier. So the question was, and I've had this question a lot, am I going to burn out and need to go back to working for someone else? And I really, really hope that the answer is no, at this point in my career especially. All right, my next set of thoughts are pretty extensive. So I figured we'd just talk about it instead of going over it. That's my whole presentation, by the way, like all my notes that I have. So let's go to the time value prioritization funnel. Thank you. I like to make people laugh. That's what I'm here to do, so cool. So what is the time value prioritization funnel? So it looks very simple, and it is. So there are a bunch of different things in here, and I'm just gonna slice it up and do parts of it for you. So the top of the funnel is every single possible task that you can think of to do in any given day, your entire career, right? So you say, I have new tasks, and they're going into the top of the funnel. And here's a really cool thing about the top of the funnel. You can put stuff in there and say, it's in the funnel, and I will never, ever, ever do it. And that's okay, because sometimes you have dumb ideas. I know I do, right? And if you're a publisher, you have a lot of people under you that have a lot of dumb ideas, and it's a whole thing. So the top of the funnel is a really great place, but it can also just lead right to the shredder, and that's fine. So don't let that get you down, right? Delayed tasks always also come back into the funnel, but we'll get back to that. So, so this is, you're capturing by listing all tasks, all your ideas, your responsibilities, and it helps clear your mind and make sure that nothing gets overlooked, right? If you have this huge thing, this huge funnel, figuring out what goes down into the deeper reaches is a really important thing to do, because there's always more that you can do for your career. So if we go down to the perhaps, or the yes but not now, right? It's tasks that are, ooh, is that me? Okay. It's tasks that you might be interested in doing later, but they don't have value for you or your company or your business right now. For me, that task is like foreign translations, right? I want to get into it. It's something that's really cool. I have a really thriving German market. I also really don't want to have to get into the nitty-gritty of doing translations right now, but I might really soon. So it's a delayed perhaps, but not now. So yes, but not now. So you had to figure out what are the urgent tasks, the things that work really well for your business, and you had to literally give these prioritizations, right? So this is not just like, hey, put all your thoughts in there and just start doing stuff. It's go through all of your lists and figure out what is actually urgent, what is critical, what needs to happen, what does not need to happen, and then from there it's kind of a wish list of things that'll happen. So perhaps, but not now, right? So it could be too expensive, it could be too time consuming. All of these things are really good to have knowledge on, and if you write them down, physically write them down, you can come back to them and not forget about them in the future. So this is my favorite of all of the part of the funnel. Yes, I'm gonna have this task done, but it's not gonna be done by anyone, right? Doesn't that sound fun? It's like, wait a second, kind of throws me off there. But no, it's all the things that can be automated. I love automation, right? And so if you can say, look, I'm going to have a sales funnel that brings everyone into my email list, and then it segments them out by what they bought, when they bought, did they buy book 2, all of these other things. I can set all that up and walk away, and then that task is always done, but it's not done by anyone. So it's a really fun part of the funnel for me to try and expand. So when you have values that are assigned, or tasks that are assigned value, you can prioritize them, you can automate them, and so if it doesn't need a human touch, don't give it a human touch. Just let it go, and it's awesome. Okay. Yes, but not me. My second favorite thing in the funnel, because I don't know about you all, but I started as a programmer, and the programmer mentality is do not do the job if you don't have to do the job, right? Have someone else do the job, figure out a way to automate it, figure out a way to do recursive stuff so that if someone asks you a question, you can point them at something and you don't have to do it yourself. I love this. This is delegation. And we'll get to this more in depth a little bit later. But for this high-value task that actually needs someone to do it, but not enough high value for me to do it, right? As an author, most of your money, if not all of the money, for yourself or for your company comes from you. And so it's really important as an author to go out there and actually be writing books, right? Content creation is a huge thing. So we'll get to that more in a few minutes as well. And then, of course, at the very bottom of the funnel, the smallest one, the one that I really hate, is the one that says, yes, you have to work too. Haha, write your own book. No one's going to do it for you. And so for me, getting Getting to this point means that I have prioritized everything else. I've assigned it a value. I've tried so hard to automate it. I've tried so hard to just hand it off to someone else, and yet I still must work. Dang nabbit, right? And so I hope that you can find some use in this in prioritizing things. And I do have a note on this that I want to bring up. This is about productivity, right? Productivity isn't about ticking off boxes, right? It's not about doing these little tasks. It's not about spinning your wheels, running on a treadmill, and smacking down every issue that pops up. Productivity is determining the right tasks, right? It is figuring out how to be productive in your business instead of just busy in your business. And it's a very difficult, it has a very high barrier of entry because you have to be willing to give things up, give control up. And that's really hard because we are here as self-pub and indie pub people. We like the control. That's why we're here, and that's also why we're successful. But to get to a new stage, you have to find ways to to let yourself give things up. So, yeah, we're gonna keep going. Pew, pew. So that's the time value prioritization funnel. Okay, moving into automation. All right, so I'm not talking about ChatGPT here. I don't mean like go in and have your book be written by someone else, like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm sure it has its own place, it has its own thing. That's not what I'm talking about when I say automation. I'm talking about repetitive tasks. I'm talking about repetitive tasks. I'm talking about repetitive tasks, right? Okay. Things that can and should be automated. Emails, posting to social media, note-taking. I love my note-taking app. Scheduling, data entry, and reminders. These are the big ones for me. I need someone in my company that I call the CRO, which is the Chief Reminding Officer, and that's my personal assistant, by the way, because I get so far off task, and I don't need to be retrained. I just need to be reminded. Hey, Dakota, you have a you have a deadline that's tomorrow. You gonna write your book? Oh yeah, I should do that today, right? Or whatever it is. I have a meeting come up. I have a live stream coming up. I'm gonna be neck deep in whatever I'm doing and I'm having fun, and I do not pay attention, but I have my CRO, someone who's gonna come in there and remind me to do things. Or it's a calendar event. So your time is valuable. You have to use it really wisely, and if you see yourself doing a task monthly, see if you can automate it. If you're doing it weekly, you should really think about doing an automation for that. If you're doing it daily, good Lord, get that off your task list, hand that off to someone else, do something else, because your time, your value is in the high value things. Let other people or other things do those lower tasks for you. So automation is a really important thing to look into, find ways to do it. There's tons of services. There's lots of people here that offer those kinds of services. Look into this, let go, and be more successful. Now, let's go from that's all I have on automation. Just do it. Right, sorry, that one slide, moving on. Going from automation to standard operating procedures, which is my personal favorite. Oh, yeah. Standard operating procedures, also known as relearning things sucks. So I'm gonna talk about that for a second. Relearning things sucks. And so I was in the Army for a long time, and I had to train hundreds and hundreds of people to do the same thing over and over. I felt like a chatbot, an NPC, and also I wanted to like strangle someone constantly. It was a constant cycle of that. And so learning how to write SOPs where someone comes in and they say, how do I do this? And I hand them a sheet of paper that says, this is your job, do your job, and here is a foolproof, idiot-proof way of doing it. There might be a better way of doing it, but I know this one works. Here you go. That is an amazing tool in any industry for training someone, for bringing in someone new. It's always great to train someone else. It's great for your personal mental state because you know the task. You can explain it in depth. You are a subject matter expert on how to do this task. When someone gets really good in my company and they are able to take an SOP and make it better, and so they take their 20-hour workload and they go down to 10, I will either reward them with a lot more work, which also comes with a promotion usually, Or I will just promote them and say, now it's your job to train the next person. And if they haven't updated their SOPs, they're going to have a really hard time training that next person to do their job in a timely manner. So it's really cool, and that's something that I always use as the big carrot in my company. Keep everything that you do up to date, and just in case something happens to you, that's like down here, just quietly, if something happens to you, I want to know how to do this. But also, if they are able to get a promotion because of their exemplary work, I don't want to lose their productivity, their excellence in low-level tasks anymore. I want to put someone else in there, and if we can have a turnkey operation where they can come in, get a stack of papers and say, this is your job, start at the top and go to the bottom and do that every day, every week, whatever it is, that is what I want for the people who are getting promoted, so they don't have to worry about those minor issues. So there's 3 things I always have in any SOP. The first one is why this is important, right? It's a little summary of the document that says why it's important to the company, followed by why it is important to the person who is making the SOP. So it's important to me because I really like my company to run smoothly. It's important to me because this particular task is in a chain of tasks that must be done for a book to come out. It's important to you because you like having a job, right? I mean, no, there's usually more to it than that, but it's a big thing to have a real reason for them to love what they do and know why they are doing that thing. The second thing I have in there is where to start. And it's a little bit of a misnomer, miscategorization, because it actually has a detailed step-by-step of where to start the task and where they go to end the task, and usually I add pictures, right? Usually I add pictures, like if there's any confusion whatsoever, a picture gets put in there. So here's how you do this, this is what it should look like. At the end of that, I also insert a link to a video of me going through and showing that. I have hundreds and hundreds of SOPs in my company, and there's a reason all of my authors are either 7-figure or 6-figure authors. It's because they know exactly what they're doing, and as soon as they finish their book, they can walk through the steps that they need to do, and on our end, we can walk through the steps that we need to do. We have business SOPs, we have author SOPs, and so the business SOPs we walk through, we say, okay, it goes into this funnel, and we start going through each of the tasks that needs to be done to have this be a spectacular launch and a spectacular release. And we have SOPs for everything, including making SOPs, which is what you're seeing right now. So, and then the third one is what to expect. I love this one, because all this is a difficulty meter. So it says, hey, this is going to be a medium level task, right? So it's kind of a medium, intermediate, advanced, whatever it is. And it also has a time to complete. So it's be a little generous, give it like 20% extra time to complete, and say this should take you 2 hours of time to complete in any given week, right? Follow the tasks, follow the list. As long as you have good internet, you should be able to do this in about 2 hours. And what I love to do is when I get to SOPs that have up to 20 hours, when it gets to 20 hours worth of time and effort for this stack of SOP A, B, C, D, and E, I say, okay, it's time to hire someone and hand this off to them because this is taking 20 hours of my time a week. That needs to go away so I can focus on writing. But the other cool thing is that then I can hire someone and give them a job, part-time job they can do from home, that will make me more successful and more profitable because I am going out there and bringing them in and getting the task completed. It's really cool. It's a really cool system. I have an example for this if we have internet. I'll come back to it though because I'm moving a little slower through my slides than I thought I would. So I have something like 180, 190. I'm just kidding. Okay. So so this is an example of what I usually have and why it is important. So it's important to the person making the SOP. It lets them get a greater understanding of what they are actually doing. I don't know about any of you, if you've ever had a job before doing what you do now. Have you ever walked into a job and had no idea what you were doing and were expected to do your job? That was me all the time, and I hated it. I hated it so much. And so that leads to massive job dissatisfaction. That leads to people leaving. That leads to like huge amounts of turnover. And guess what? If you have to train someone and then they leave because they don't like how you do things, and then you have to train someone else and they leave because you don't like how they don't like how you do things, how much time are you wasting training people, right? So give them the knowledge that they can do their job perfectly the first time, and they will love you for it. Highly recommended. And I had already mentioned this part. When we are expanding and we are looking at people to promote, we say, can you train the people under you to do the task that you are doing now? And if you do, if you really understand that, you're now a supervisor of the next person that we bring in, and I'm going to train you on the next tasks. You're going to train them on your current tasks, and then when that's all done, we're all happy and doing our own thing. Everything's chugging along really nicely. I'm going to drink some water. 1 second here. A lot of smoke in the air around here. Aaron, do you have any questions? No? Again, if there's any questions at any time, please come on and hop up at the microphone. So we're going to go from standard operating procedure to task badging. This is a pretty fun one. I have a whole thing here. Okay, there we go. Task badging. Yep. So this is taking similar tasks and tackling them all in one go. Anyone here have any trouble at all in remaining focused for 8 hours straight? Yeah? Yeah. So that's cool. I'm not alone. I feel good. I feel good about that. So there's a lot of things that are really, really important for me to do in my company that I really, really don't like doing. And one of those things is responding to every comment that someone puts on a post. It's really important that that happens. And so what I do is I say, look, this might get 400 or 500 comments. This might get 5 comments. I want to respond to all of them, but I also really, really want to be able to write today so I can bring in new fans. I can make more money. I can make new fans. I can write a new book, make money, bring fans, get money, get book. You know, I call that the successful author cycle. You know, write a book, get money, get fans, write a new book, so on and so forth. And so it's really important that I have the time that I need to successfully complete my very high value task of content creation of a book. And yet, at the same time, TikTok is always calling, right? It's always like, you know, you could make a little video. You could go on Facebook and make a post. You could make a meme and bring people in. You know what you should do? You should start streaming video games, because then you can consider it work stuff. Oh, you should start a blog. Oh my God, a blog is amazing. You know what's even better? I should make a video game out of my book, and I should make it myself instead of writing books. Whew, man, that's a lot of cool things that stays in the very top of the funnel, you know? Because, yeah, those are cool ideas, but they're things that are not revenue generating. We are in this to have a successful career, and as a successful career, we need successful career money. If we want to be full-time authors, we need full-time author money, right? And that means putting out a new book so people can come and buy that book so we can write another book. It's great. It's a super great cycle. Symbiotic, if you might say. So what I like to do is I like to take these tasks that need to be done, and I give them a very hard boundary on either side of time that I will allocate them. This is my time. I am giving that task. That task is not requiring me or forcing me to do it. I am, you know, being like, yes, that task requires some attention. I'll give it a spare moment. So if I had to do social media, I do half an hour a day at maximum, unless I'm doing a live stream, where I do 45 minutes at a maximum, because I can talk all day. I love the sound of my voice. I'm not a narrator because I don't want to have to share it all that much, you know? So I just talk for me. So grouping all of those tasks is really important so that they get done, but they get done in a timely manner, and then I work really hard to be done ahead of time, because if I give myself 30 minutes over here, but it only takes 25 minutes, that's 5 minutes that I can do nothing, or I can do whatever I want. I can get some extra coffee, some more water. It's great. So I like to address everything in the same category all at once. That's social media, that's emails, and then twice a week I focus really heavily on the authors in my company to make sure that anything they need from me is getting done within a day or two of them asking, right? So that's important to me. Now, here's the important thing. It's a really hard one. When you're done with the task, close it. Like, close whatever that was. I'm done addressing what I need to do on Facebook, making my post, doing whatever else, and Control W, right? So that closes the window. Just get rid of it. Turn it off, turn it away. Slack messages. Anyone here use Slack by any chance? Yeah? Okay, that's cool. Have you ever seen like a wall of red little dots of these notifications you haven't responded to yet? My favorite thing is to see how high I can get that number before I have to go look at it, because it will take all of my attention all the time. Was that? Ick? Yes. My wife has like 10,000 unread emails. Yeah. So she's competing and winning in that arena. So stop looking at those tasks after you give them the amount of time that is allocated to them, the time that you are gifting those tasks, because otherwise they will take as much as they can. All right, that's task batching. It's really a straightforward thing. Put things together and do them all together. So let me see. Time blocking is a strategy to avoid inefficiencies, right? So multiple unnecessary trips to the store, interruption during my peak writing hours, things like that. I'm trying to be efficient and a good shepherd of my time. And that is the entirety of task batching, is being self-controlled, having that discipline to focus on the things that are actually revenue generating. It's harder than it sounds, and I know you know. I know you know. Scott. No. All right, let's talk about continuing education. Well, guess what, guys? You did it. You did the continuing education. You are here, you are learning new things and becoming more proficient in your craft. And if not your craft, if not your writing craft, your business craft. As I'm sure all of us have learned by now, being a self-published author is a full-time business. It is more than a full-time business. It is as much time as you are willing to give it business. It's I wake up sometimes in a cold sweat with a new story idea, and I had to quickly get up and type this out. But I also had to be up in an hour because my 5-year-old or my 1-year-old is going to be screaming for breakfast, right? It's a thing. So as much time as it can take, it will take. So continuing education is important because beyond perfecting our craft, making better books, we have to sell those books, and that's the sucky part, right? Why can't we just say, I have the most amazing book ever, and because of that, people will read it? That would be a really fun thing to do, wouldn't it? Like, I know this is good, and other people won't know this is good, and they'll just find it. That'd be amazing. I'm gonna think about that for a second. But no, that's not what happens. You can have the most amazing book in the world, and no one reads it, because no one knows where to find it, how to find it. You're not getting it in front of the right audience. You're not utilizing every tool at your disposal to make yourself a more successful, efficient author. I'm not talking minimum viable product. I'm talking the best thing that you can do within a hard bound of time. I give myself very specific, I allocate myself a very specific amount of edits that I can do in a book. I do one writing pass. I write from beginning to end and I don't look back. I then go back to the start and I do one pass where I'm trying to close loops and put things in. And then I do one pass for any inconsistencies in like commas, so like proofing and all that stuff. And then I must give it to my editor. I do not allow myself another pass because perfection is the enemy of good. And there's a reason that I have 45 books on the market as of Tuesday, right? Is because I want to have great content. Is it the best, most literary perfection American classic? No, but it's really fun. And I like that, and I want more of it, and I want to interact with people more. And so I'm here to learn how I can make that happen. And I hope that you'll take something positive away from this. And if you take something, that's the title of one of my books. So if you want something, come to Dakota Krout and find something. Yeah, you can also find anything that's book 2. And if you like everything by Dakota Krout, I have a book for you. Yeah, thank you, Aaron. Yeah, thank you for leaning into my marketing strategy. I like it. All right. So it looks like you guys have this one handled. You know that you want to learn how to do things better. You've got this. It is surprisingly difficult to explain how important conferences are to new authors because they say, aren't I writing the books? Aren't I doing the thing? Well, yes, you are. But are you going to sit in a room the entire career and not make friends, right? Are you gonna do this incredibly lonely career all by yourself all the time? Or are you going to figure out how to make it not a lonely career and how to have friends in the market that can prop you up when you're, going through the dark night of the soul, right? You gotta get through that and move to the revelation, right? So you've got this handled. Remember, you always want to invest time in learning new techniques, tools, methodologies, things that help you write efficiently. I know that at the same time as this talk going on, there's an AI talk going on, and I'm sure it's much more full than this, but I'm glad you guys are here because I was really nervous. It looks like a really nice talk. So AI is cool. AI is cool. It is. That genie's not going back in the bottle. So we can use it as the tool that it is meant to be, or we can get left behind, right? And that's how it always is with new technologies and new methodologies. So I have no plans to write my books with AI, but I also make incredibly dense outlines that are just these walls of text. Like I just finished one, it was 50 pages long. It was a great outline. And I was like, man, how do I even start this? So I just threw it in there and I said, can you please return this as like bullet points? Like make this more concise? Now it's 75 pages, right? That was great. So I was like, yeah, look at this. I'm like quarter of the way done writing my book. That's great. Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, that's half a sentence. All right, so methodologies and techniques. So this can be formal training, right? You can go to school. You can take a course, but it's likely that you have your own specific writing style. And I have found for a lot of authors that have been in this for a while, going back and getting more formal training has actually destroyed their writing style and made them do worse overall. So kind of where your starting point is, where you find success, don't let people tell you that that's not enough. There's no rules. This is an arbitrary game. Don't ever let someone say, oh, what you're doing isn't the right way. I fight with my editor every single book about EM dashes and semicolons, and I counted on my last book, she took out 426 that. She does not like the word that. And I said, okay, so what are you going to replace those with? And she said, blank space. And I said, no, we're not. We're going to put something else in that. So it was fun. So it can be workshops. Masterminds are awesome. I love going and talking with other people, my peers, and I always like to think that I'm not the smartest person in the room, and it's usually true, which is great, because then I have so much further to go upward, so many things to learn, and these masterminds are spectacular for that. Online courses, that can be anything from, advertising courses to whatever else. Like, I know Jeanette's doing a really cool thing with the 7-figure author business, and if anyone wants to talk to her about that, she's in the front row after this. So the initial time spent on learning can save a lot more time in the long run. Front load your work so that you can, in the back end, just have smooth sailing. I like to think of it as black magic, right? If I do all the terrible things that need to be done up front and like stir it up and do this, then I can just be sipping brew for like 6 weeks, right? It's nice. I don't know how you think about black magic, but. Oh, he's got a question for me.
See if I can work the device. All righty.
Cool.
That doesn't work out too bad at all. I was looking at your note on efficiency, and efficiency is my entire life. Scheduling is very difficult to find available resource time. So the question that I was wondering about, as you look at tools, and I don't know that AI is a relevant tool for many authors. It is a contentious one, but not relevant, I think, and you pointed that out adroitly. My question has to do with how do you find ways to integrate the thought process you have with the ability to put material out when you don't have access to any writing tool other than a phone? My consideration was dictation. Have you found any means or strategy to be able to either dictate information, take that and then translate into meaningful paragraphs, integrate that into a book format, anything like that? So that's where I was going with that, and I didn't know if you found that to be
Yep. So I do a lot of dictation. In fact, I do entirely dictation at this point. I'm currently writing, when I write Monday through Thursday. I write from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. I write 8 to 10,000 words a day. And I do that all with dictation. And it is a lot of effort. It's a lot of time. There's a reason it's only 4 days a week for that time blocks, is because those are when I can focus, and then I have time to recover. So I can do that on my phone. I can do that on my computer, however else. Quiet environment is really good. The other thing that I do with that is I have an assistant who is in the document with me, live editing behind me as I go. Because what comes out is not always what comes onto the screen is not always what I said. And she can hear me, and the human mind is much better at understanding those what's actually supposed to be there and fixing it. So that's one of the ways that I get to delegate, is I come back to a clean document every time, because someone else is coming along behind me, taking the flum 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 and turning it into for that much he ran, or whatever it is. So yes, I've found a huge benefit in that, and if anyone wants to know, I stream every day when I'm writing, so the entire time that I'm doing this, I do this publicly. So if anyone ever wants to see what it looks like to do dictation at that level for that amount of time, you can come on my Discord and anyone can see it, anyone can learn from it if it's helpful to you at all. So just find me after this and we can talk about that. Go ahead.
Hi, Dakota.
Hi.
Wow, this is really loud. My name is Lydia. I'm friends with Jeanette over here, and I've been laughing at her laughing at you. It's
Excellent.
pretty amusing.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask about the automating tasks portion.
Sure.
And about social media posts. I feel like a lot of the success that I have found is because I'm very extroverted, I'm very personable, I'm a character, I'm my brand.
Absolutely.
And I do enjoy social media, and I really enjoy replying to comments and doing those posts. And I have tried scheduling beforehand and have found that I just am empty of ideas. What I'm posting is I'll wake up in the morning and be like, oh, this is what's going on. Well, I am thinking this interesting thing about it, so I'm going to post that right now. And I have pictures of my cats. I write about a talking cat, so lots of cat pictures just waiting in my,
Sure.
my phone to be used. And I'll post pictures of my cats and write something fun about what I'm doing that day. And it happens, but it does take time. So I
Sure.
find that I could probably save an hour of time a day, but then it's not me.
Sure.
And so is there a workaround for it to be
Yes.
you and automate?
Yeah. So let me ask you something. Do you have to post about your cat's right meow? Right? Does it have to be right meow?
I will
Right.
say.
So, no, what I mean by this is, can you take that and make that post and have it ready and then schedule it out at a certain time?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But I get
because
the
it's
idea.
still you, but are you making more than one post in a day?
No, I'm not doing more than posts a day. I do
Okay.
Facebook posts about 3 to 4 times a week. And that's
Okay.
the only social media I do because I can't deal with any of the others.
May I ask, have you done any analytics on the best times to post to your audience to get reactions from them?
Yes and no, not so much hard data, but just experience of seeing when people
Sure.
reply. It's generally around 10 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time.
All right, so are you always posting at 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Eastern Standard Time?
that's when I post. But
Okay,
then
so
I check comments.
you're already scheduling.
Well,
right?
I don't find the ideas come to me when I try and schedule stuff beforehand. I have the ideas then right at that
Yeah.
moment.
So do it, make the post up, and then hit post this later. That's a function on Facebook, right? If that's where you're doing this. Most of these social media sites will have a function that says, do you want to post this now or do you want to schedule this post? And then you can always come back and be like, you know what? I found an even better way to say that, and then you can adjust it. But you're not supposed to, because you're supposed to close that task
Yeah,
when you're
you're
done with it.
supposed to close
Right?
the task,
So what I would say is, when you have that cool idea, put it together, make it happen, and then just say, post this later. And then what's really fun then is you come back and you get cool reactions, and you get this big mood boost because you had the big mood boost, right? You're like, this is gonna be cool and people are gonna love this. Post that, and then if you post it and walk away, do you ever find yourself being like, come on, someone comment,
Yes,
I really want to
yes,
hear what you have to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that does not help you close it.
I know.
So if you make that post and you say, I schedule this for this time, and then I can put that out of my mind, you come back to this nice treat of a bunch of things to answer all at once instead of one drip-fed thing, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation. Do what you're doing, and then have it go out at the time that is the most efficient for your business, your brand, So yeah, so what you're doing is already scheduling, and even though it's not AI,
So
which
do you
doesn't
write
have
your
to
own?
be.
Do you write your own social media posts, or do you have someone who does that?
I write a lot. I write the ad copy,
Okay.
but I'm colorblind, partially colorblind at least, and so I don't do the graphics or anything
Yeah.
for it because my first covers were black and white hand-drawn pencil because I could see it,
Yeah.
and I don't recommend that, by the way, for anyone. But it was a thing that I could see and I liked. It stood out, but not perhaps in the best way. So I have people that are. I make the ad copy, I say, I want this, and then they make a cool graphic or image that goes with it, and I always think it looks terrible because
That's why you hire other people.
it's
so,
all brown.
yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
brown to me.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you so
exactly.
much, Dakota.
So, yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, can you please share which tools are you using for social media scheduling, for notes? You mentioned that
Sure.
you are something, and for dictation,
Yeah.
and if there is any other that like change your life
Cool.
productivity-wise.
Sure. So productivity-wise, the thing that's changed my life is delegation. Come on, yeah, delegation. So first, so I'm going to do that in just a second because we only have 2 minutes left. But what I use for dictation is Google Docs. Google Docs has a built-in function for voice to text, and it's awesome because guess what, guys? Google listens to everyone every single day, all the time. like, be a little bit afraid, but also know that they're trying to be your friend. So it's definitely one of those things where their voice software, their voice recognition software, is off the charts. I've used Dragon before. It is nowhere comparable for fantasy. It's great for medical, it's great for other tasks that it's built for, but Google is good for taking any word you say, and if you totally made it up, it will try and sound it out for you, and it works a lot of the time, right? So that's what I use for that. I do recommend having a decent microphone. Everyone always starts with Yeti Blues. Just don't. If you're gonna do your career, just like jump in at the minimum at like a Shure, SHURE. Because it has a really good microphone, good compression, so that's how I would recommend doing that. It does take a lot of time to practice voice to text. It took me about 2 years to go from mostly writing to almost entirely dictation. So practice is your friend. So and I like to say practice makes better. Practice never makes perfect. There's no such thing, right? So, and then scheduling, there's some really cool stuff that's coming out with AI automation. For scheduling, you can be like, hey, I want to do this, remind me, and then it'll say, hey, like, and it'll do a bunch of cool stuff for you. Right now, my AI on that is just my assistant in the internet, yes, yeah, AI. So that's where I have for that, and next year hopefully I'll have more information for you on that. So because things are progressing all the time. Real quick, I'm going to do delegation because we've already basically talked about all of this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Oh, here we go. Delegation. Oh man, this one wasn't supposed to come out first. All right. So things you probably delegate. Developmental editing, copy editing, cover art, formatting, right? These are all things that authors tend to delegate because most of us are not also grand artists doing amazing things. Here's things that I delegate. Developmental editing, copy editing, cover art, sounds familiar. Formatting, advertising, marketing, audio engineering, contract creation and review with our lawyer, general info for authors or fans, newsletters, wiki creation, Discord management, patron posting, cooking, cleaning, mowing the lawn, bringing mail to the post office, making corrections as I write. That's what I could fit on the screen, right? All of these things that are taking up my time are things that I don't want to have to do and need to be done. And so I can find someone else who can take even a part-time job. A lot of people are starving for something else to do outside of the normal job. They're looking for any amount that you can give them, and they want to be a part of what you do. So my recommendation is put all the tasks in your life into the top of that funnel and see what comes out at the bottom. All right, guys. And then things I never delegate: spending time with my wife and kids, keeping up my physical and mental health, and being a part of my community and with my friends. Okay. So let's skip these last ones, and yeah, you can do the thing. All right, thank you all. Make smart choices, be intentional, and your career is going to shine. Thank you all.